doing this, I didn't even know what the hell NATO was too much before, but it didn't take me long to figure it out, like about 2 minutes. And the first thing I figured out was they weren't paying. We were paying. We were paying almost fully for NATO.
That was 78-year-old Donald Trump admitting that he didn't know what NATO was before he was the president of the United States. He had to learn as a 70-year-old man who was entering into the presidency. He said that after 2 minutes of learning, he came up with a solution, and he has stuck with that solution ever since that day, which shows that he has a childlike understanding of foreign policy, of international relations, and especially of NATO. This man should not be held on any sort of pedestal. His policies should not be looked at as equivalent to President Biden's. The fact that they were even on a debate stage together is offensive.
I'm also officially challenging Crooked Joe to an 18-hole golf match right here. On Doral Blue Monster, considered one of the greatest tournament golf courses anywhere in the world, one of the great courses of the world. It will be among the most watched sporting events in history, maybe bigger than the Ryder Cup or even the Masters.
Politics is purely performative for Donald Trump. He looks at everything like a reality television show, trying to drum up engagement and views and make people angry. He held a rally in Florida today, and it was the same old incoherent nonsense. He told the same old jokes, all of our favorite ones. And I just want to take a second to highlight some of President Biden's accomplishments, because Donald Trump is over here going on angry rants in golf carts, completely out of breath.
It's so pathetic. It's so amazing. It's just so fucking bad. So I just can't imagine. But can you imagine that guy dealing with Putin and the president of China, who's a fierce person? He's a fierce man. Right.
And a lot of times we tend to overlook President Biden's accomplishments when we should be highlighting them. So on day one, President Biden got into office and reversed Donald Trump's terrible energy policies. He restored our presence on the global stage by putting us back in the Paris Climate Accord, stopping the Keystone XL pipeline from being built. He then passed many bills. He passed the American Rescue Plan, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, the CHIPS and Science Act, the Inflation Reduction Act. People forget that President Biden capped insulin at $35. He sent out $1,400 checks. He put our economy back on track after it was nearly in a recession, in the same way that him and Obama put our economy back on track in 2008. I could go on and on, but there's a massive list. Back to Donald Trump's lousy speech.
So tonight I'm officially offering Joe the chance to redeem himself in front of the entire world. So Marco and Byron and everybody, here's what we're going to do. You guys can be referees if you like. Let's do another debate this week so that Sleepy Joe Biden can prove to everyone all over the world that he has what it takes to be president. But this time it will be man to man, no moderators, no holes barred. Just name the place, anytime, anywhere.
I'm actually incredibly surprised that Donald Trump is willing to take the risk of doing a second debate. I feel like there's only downside because the expectations are so low for President Biden that if he's able to beat them and be more like State of the Union Biden, Donald Trump will not have a good performance. If President Biden is actually able to call out Trump on his lies, it will be a huge win. But then Trump did that same old joke, the least funny joke I've ever heard. I don't know why he keeps telling this.
Did anyone ever see the lovely movie Silence of the Lambs? Did you see it? Did you ever hear of Hannibal Lecter? He was a lovely man. He would love to have you for dinner. He will take you. You had many people for dinner. Well, we have a lot of people coming in. They always say, oh, that's terrible, that Trump would say. He is rambling about Hannibal Lecter. No, I'm not rambling. We are allowing people from insane asylums and mental institutions into our country by the tens of thousands. And they're closing them down in other countries. You know the cost savings and all of the savings?
Trump claims that he's not rambling, but that is the definition of rambling. He just connected Hannibal Lecter to our immigration problem, which he is making it harder to solve this immigration problem by nuking border bills. He's actively trying to stop this problem from being solved. He connects that to Hannibal Lecter. He does ramble on about this every rally. I'm surprised he didn't start talking about sharks and being electrocuted.
You never talk about a person's look, ever. You never mention it. The other day, I got very angry. Some man called Chris Christie fat. And I said, sir, and then he said he was a pig. I said, sir, Chris Christie is not a fat pig. Please remember that. He is not a fat pig. Please take it back. And the guy's looking at me like, really? No, we have to defend people. You can't call people fat. So I said about 9 times, he is not a fat pig.
It really does feel like one of Donald Trump's authoritarian tactics to bully and isolate anybody who dissents. Chris Christie is a Republican who has somewhat of a spine. I mean, I disagree with him on almost everything, but at least he is pro-democracy. We know he likes the Constitution. He is pro-democracy more so than Donald Trump. So Donald Trump bullies him. He makes the entire crowd laugh at Chris Christie. That is what authoritarians do. I feel like if he had more power, if he was the president and didn't have any checks and had, say, some official acts, he would do more to Chris Christie. But here's a clip of Donald Trump just whining. He just whines all the time, and I can't listen to it anymore.
You know, it's only 103 degrees out here. So, you know, they built all these, they call them, sir, we have many water spots. I said, what about one for me? Do I have one? I don't have one, Marco. They gave water spots. Everybody has, they call it a water spot. Where water comes out, you get, they don't have anything for me. I'm being drenched up here.
Here's Donald Trump saying that his son, Don Jr., has a beautiful wife when Don Jr. isn't married. Listen closely.
It's fantastic. Works so hard, so smart. Has a great wife, as does Don. Oh, yeah.
Trump then said he's bringing back Tom Holmes, who's one of the authors of Project 2025, but he keeps trying to distance himself from the Heritage Foundation.
We're going to bring back, by the way, we're bringing back Tom Homan. We're bringing back all of the guys that did such a great job on the border.
Always remember, Trump is lying when he says he has nothing to do with Project 2025. He enacted over 64% of the Heritage Foundation's policy recommendations during his first term. But I want to point your attention to this article really quickly. It kind of brings my point home about Trump just learning about NATO yesterday. It reads, President Trump tried to immediately withdraw troops from Afghanistan and Somalia, knowing he lost and had weeks left in office, January 6th committee says. One key example after Donald Trump lost the election and doubled down on his election fraud lies is this. President Trump issued an order for large-scale U.S. troop withdrawals, Adam Kinzinger continued. He disregarded concerns about the consequences for fragile governments on the front lines of the fight against ISIS and al-Qaeda terrorists. He wanted to pull out all troops across all countries across the globe. It was a massive authoritarian move, and the checks and balances in place basically held. All of the military officials basically just kind of waited it out and didn't do anything and hoped that President Biden would fix everything, and he did. He came in and he didn't issue that same order. But if you enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like, comment a blue heart, hit that subscribe button, and have a great day.